If Christmas elves were real, the world would never look the same again. The first time people realized they existed, it wasn't through grand announcements or proof on television. It was subtle at first. Children would find tiny boots left on windowsills, a pencil carved with intricate patterns they had never seen, or a single candy cane with the smell of pine and chocolate lingering around it. Then the photographs would surface, elves caught in the act, laughing, running, working, glowing softly in the corners of Santa's workshop. They weren't tall or imposing, but they were alive in a way that made everything else in the world feel smaller, quieter, less magical. The elves were not all the same. There were the crafting elves, whose hands moved with impossible speed and grace. They carved wood, shaped metal, sewed dolls, painted trains, and in every creation left a spark of themselves. You could see it if you looked closely, the faint shimmer of joy in the edges of a toy, the sense that it was alive before it even reached a child. They laughed constantly, teased one another endlessly, and believed that happiness was not just the goal of their work, but its most important ingredient. Then there were the caretaker elves, quiet and steady, whose magic lived in their ability to care. They fed the reindeer, brushed their fur, whispered encouragement into their ears. They tended to snow foxes, hares, and even frost spirits that danced in the winter sky. They moved like soft wind, leaving comfort and warmth wherever they went. To be near them was to feel safe, as if the world's problems had been paused for just a moment so joy could live a little longer. The Lightkeeper elves were dreamers and philosophers. They choreographed the northern lights, polishing the colors like lanterns and ensuring the sky's beauty was alive and magical. Some humans claimed they could see faint shapes in the aurora, hints of elves dancing as the lights swirled overhead. They whispered to Santa when he needed perspective, reminding him why joy mattered, why magic had to be shared, why wonder was worth preserving. The archivist elves lived in silence. They kept the North Pole's memory, recording every letter ever sent to Santa, every act of kindness, every dream. Their library was carved from ice that glowed faintly blue, the walls alive with whispering voices. They rarely left, but everything in the workshop hummed with their presence. Sometimes a snowflake would fall differently because of their writing, carrying a memory of joy across the world, landing in the hands of a child who needed it most. And then there were the Wanderers, the most mysterious of all. They left the North Pole entirely, moving unseen through the human world, leaving tiny miracles in their wake, a flower blooming in winter, a lost kitten finding its way home, a stranger arriving at just the right moment. They did not seek thanks or attention. They only wanted people to remember that magic was not gone, that wonder could exist in the most ordinary moments, and that joy was a force to be shared freely. Elves were radiant. Being near one made the air shimmer. It made your chest feel lighter, your laughter come easier, your heart feel warmer. They glowed with the energy of creation and care, but they were also real, with personalities that sparkled like the toys they made. Some were mischievous, hiding paintbrushes or tossing tiny snowballs across the workshop. Some were perfectionists, adjusting the edges of toys again and again until they were just right. Some were shy, blushing when praised. Some were bold, laughing until the roof shook. But beneath every quirk, every joke, every shuffle of feet across the floor was a shared purpose: to create happiness, to spread wonder, to make the world feel magical, even if only for a moment. Their home, the heart of winter, was not just a workshop, it was alive. Music hummed through the walls, light shimmered along every surface, the floors glowed faintly beneath their feet. Toys moved of their own accord, testing themselves, waiting to be chosen by children who needed them. And at the center of it all was the heart, a crystal grown from pure laughter and glowing endlessly, feeding magic into everything the elves touched. Every child's joy added to it, every act of kindness, every smile, every moment of hope made it pulse brighter. The caretakers ensured that the magic lived beyond the workshop. They trained the reindeer, polished the sleigh, and tended the animals that made Christmas possible. They whispered to them, guiding them gently, making sure every creature felt loved and ready for the big night. The lightkeepers painted the sky with the aurora, choreographing the light, so that every child woke to something breathtaking, even if they didn't know why. The archivists recorded it all, creating a library of joy that would last forever. And the wanderers, unseen by human eyes, wandered the world, sprinkling little miracles wherever they went, reminding children that magic could exist anywhere if you only believed. October was always the beginning of something extraordinary. Snow would glisten brighter, the lights would flicker with anticipation, and letters from children would arrive in piles taller than any elf. They read every letter carefully. They considered the hopes, the dreams, the fears of each child. The elves worked tirelessly, brainstorming, building, testing, perfecting. Each toy carried a spark of joy, carefully matched to the child it was meant for. Nothing was random. Everything was intentional. By November, the workshop was a storm of activity. Toys lined the walls, stacked on tables, piled in corners. The elves moved like a single organism, efficient yet joyful, checking each gift, adjusting, laughing, offering encouragement to one another. Santa wandered through, joining in the work, tripping over boxes, spilling cocoa, and being laughed at endlessly. Every elf was appreciated, every idea respected. The energy was high, but it was never stressful. They thrived on purpose, and purpose was happiness made tangible. December brought the peak. Every elf knew the rhythm of the workshop by heart. Tasks were performed with perfection, but laughter never stopped. The elves sang as they wrapped presents, danced when packages fell, and celebrated each tiny triumph. Magic hummed in the air, pulsing with the collective joy of hundreds of small hands working toward one goal. Every toy, every ribbon, every flicker of light was infused with their care, their love, their magic. On Christmas Eve, the elves watched Santa take off into the night, guiding the reindeer as they flew across the world. The heart of winter glowed brighter than ever. Some elves followed to the windows, watching the sleigh disappear, their hearts full of pride and warmth. Then they returned to their own lives, to small acts of magic, to laughter, to the joy of being alive. Because even after the presents were delivered, even after the world woke to the proof of their work, the elves' magic continued. It was eternal, quiet, and gentle, always present in the twinkle of a light, the smile of a child, the laughter in the air. If Christmas elves were real, humanity would remember that the world could be extraordinary, that joy could be created and shared, that magic wasn't a fantasy, it was a force living and breathing in the small, kind acts of those who believed. And maybe, just maybe, if we listened closely enough on a quiet winter night, we could hear them laughing somewhere, crafting the next wonder, dancing under the aurora, and reminding us all that Christmas isn't just a day, it's a feeling that can live forever.